Answer the questions down below, y'all. Answer the questions. I will be handing out grades today. Giving out grades. Are interracial relationships for us or against us? Is preferring to date someone that is outside of your own people group or fetish? And can you be pro-black with a non-black spouse? Can you pick an African topic? These are African topics. I'm an African, so. Sorry to hear that, hypothetical. No to the last question. Okay, Detroit. Hey, you know Stella on point, A+ as always. African omitting, that's a test I want to take. I hear that. Unfortunately, we are in mixed company. That's why I don't have topics that are exclusively just intimate conversations for us, but we do that in the b1initiative.org Discord if you're interested. But we are in mixed company, so I'm just careful. You know what I'm saying? It's great entertainment to see us yelling back and forth and arguing with each other, wouldn't it be? It would be entertaining to them. You know what I'm saying? Yes to the first question. Absolutely. Okay. That goes for African men too. What do you mean by that? I'm pro-evolved humans. I'm not a color. You are, though. Evolved humans. What do you mean? You got wings or something? That's the only evolution thing because you got wings. Can you read minds or something? What do you mean evolved humans? Who's the evolved humans? Can someone please clarify that for me? You got an eye in your forehead? You grew another Shango stick? I'm confused. I got two of them now. I got two. Like, what? Maybe we should focus on single moms and not people in relationships. Why would we focus on single moms? I don't know. What does that have to do with anything? That's a different topic. Why are y'all in here trying to change my topic today? Evolved human is wild. Historic documents. Also, historic documents. If you got some stuff for Sankophobia, be sure to check us out. Mir, what's up? Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
What's going on, man? My name, I'm 29. I'm Black American, and my pronouns are he, him.
All right, talk to us.
Uh, I don't think interracial relationships are harmful to Black unity and progress. Is preferring to date another race a fetish? It can be. I'm kind of like indifferent to that. It can be. Can you be pro-Black with a non-Black spouse? Yes, you can. And I think that because a white person can support a Black business, so you should be able to date a white person if you also support Black people.
Okay, so your definition of pro-Black is just supporting Black people.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I hold the door open for a Black woman, does that make me, you know, non-misogynist? Am I supporting women if I just go buy some ice cream from a woman that owns an ice cream shop?
So if you support a a woman-owned ice cream business. Is that supporting women?
Yeah, if I go, maybe
If
she
that's the
started.
intent. If that's the intent, yeah.
Okay. So it's that easy for you just to buy something from somebody. You think we can
Yeah,
all be?
that's yeah.
So you're saying pro-blackness is for sale.
I mean, we gotta do business, right?
We do?
Yeah, you gotta do business, right?
Why do we have to do business?
To make money,
Why do we have to make money?
to sustain ourselves in the economy that we live in right now.
Whose economy is it?
I mean, it wouldn't matter. Will we? So if black people had an economy, will we not have money? Some form of currency?
Are we talking about hypotheticals or are we being like in real life?
I mean, real life, hypothetically speaking.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to take it to imagination land because then we can get all subjective and things get really wild when we get the hypotheticals. Let's keep it in reality. In reality, the economy that you're talking about and the money that you're talking about is printed by the oppressor of black people. So I'm struggling to just find like where it's supporting black people to just buy stuff from them.
Say it again.
I'm struggling to see where just buying stuff from black people is supporting them because we live in an economy created by our oppressor, a system called capitalism created by the same oppressor, and then the money that you would be giving to black owned businesses would be with literal slave owners printed on the dollar. So how is this liberating anybody is my question.
Am I supporting you right now by joining your life?
I would say no, but I can see your point, and I can even say that if you want to consider it supporting me personally, I wouldn't say you're supporting black people.
So okay. So pro-blackness is isolationism.
So you're saying pro-blackness is proximity to the oppressor. You're saying we should all run to them and hold hands?
No. If you, I'm just questioning your stance on pro-blackness. If you're gonna be pro-black, I mean, if I'm correct, you would have to be excluded from the rest of civilization. So you wouldn't trade with Chinese people. You wouldn't trade with Europeans. You wouldn't do business with Europeans. You wouldn't buy from Europeans. You wouldn't use any
Why would we have
ideas,
to do that
technology,
then?
anything from Chinese, any other group of
Why would
people.
we want to do that? Why would we have to do that?
Because a pillar of human advancement is human exchange.
Okay, and no one
Literally.
has done more exchange than Africans throughout history. So why would
No,
we?
not no Europeans have done, and that's by force.
No,
It's
they
not
haven't. That is a lie.
Europeans have done more
That is a
exchange, bro.
lie. That is a lie.
Bro,
Africans were exchanging far, far before Europe was even a continent. Do you understand that Europe wasn't even a continent until 300 years ago?
bro. The Europeans not insert themselves on every like almost every inch
It
of the
wasn't
known
until
world.
the middle of the 18th century that Europe became popularly known as a continent.
I know this, but this is not about the history, bro. This is whether or not Europeans have traded, and it's not
How
a
old
big
do
up
you
to
think? How
Europeans,
old do
bro. It's
you
just a
think?
matter of fact.
How old do you think the civilizations in Africa are? How old do you think Africa is?
Time innumerable. Like we can't even put a timestamp on it.
What is the estimate? What's the popular estimate given by historians?
Let's go 100,000 years.
Older.
That's why I said time innumerable. Like
300,000 years.
okay,
Man began to walk upright. 300,000 years. And in those 300,000 years, Africa has been the resources even today in the phone that you're talking to me on are filled with African resources. So why are we talking about Africans need to share and Africans need to advance themselves by sharing when all that's ever been done to Africa was stealing?
because look at the phone you just mentioned. That the phone we're using on is a collection of different uh minds of different backgrounds of people. Literally.
The phone is a different collection of materials from Africa. that is
Yeah, but the
underpriced
idea, the
and
reason why
gouged
the
based off of
phone
the Western
is
concept of
materializing
value.
because of the different ideas of different people from around the world. The technology comes from Africans, Asians, Europeans, Indians,
No,
Hispanics.
the technology comes from Africans. The internet was invented by a Nigerian dude. The majority of the technology comes from us.
Come on, bro.
Everything that you use, from the air conditioner to the heater to damn near parts in your car to the filament in your light bulb, comes from us.
Let's
Absolutely.
not be like Eurocentrics, bro.
We're not being Eurocentric. That's from black people, bro. That's being Afrocentric. The hell?
Let's not be
Exactly.
like them, bro. We know the internet was not
Hey
I
man,
invented.
just
hold on,
came up
hold on,
here
hold
because
on, hold on.
you're
We gotta give
the
Jack
host, Brother
some, man.
Legend. You're highly intelligent. I can't stand unintelligent people. If you come on and you're asked a direct question like how long has Africa been around, and you don't know that it's at least 50,000 years old, at least that's a minimal guesstimate.
Yeah.
So like, if you don't know that, why are you up here?
I
Because you
said
don't know anything.
100,000. Bro, I was talking to the host. Come on, bro.
I'm
You
talking
wanna
to
me and you
you.
have a conversation, or
I'm
it's
talking to
gonna
you.
be a
I'm
game?
asking a direct question. How are you black and you don't know anything about your own people? Please,
Bro,
just give me
you
that
said
answer.
you mentioned Philip Imegwali. He's a Nigerian. He developed technology to speed up the process of internet. The internet was already developed before that. Like, don't stop playing on my intelligence. I don't want to get into history lesson about black people.
But I'm trying to figure out why you think we need like anyone outside of ourselves.
Because I just
Because
told you, a
because
pillar
it, no
of the
no
human
no wait.
advancement is human
Well, hold on,
exchange.
let me finish now. So if you want to say diversity is a strength, Ellis, please stay muted. You got a huge echo. You sound like you're in a wind tunnel. Um, if you want to say diversity is a strength, right, and diversity is needed in order for advancement, right?
Not even necessarily just the exchange, just trade.
All right, exchange, trade, yada yada yada. Africa is the perfect place to do all of that because Africa is the most diverse continent on Earth, and I think a lot of people don't know how big Africa is.
And
Like
it's the most
Russia,
central one, bro.
China, like Australia, all these places can fit into Africa with plenty of room left. If you the stretch of the United States from East Coast to West Coast is about 3,000 miles. If you started in West Africa and went 3,000 miles towards the east, you would still be in West Africa. That's how big West Africa is. Like that's how big Africa is. Is that you wouldn't even be halfway through Africa. You'd be like maybe a quarter of the way from West Africa to the coast of East Africa. So there's plenty of people there. There's plenty of diversity. There's all the minds that you would need to create any innovation, obviously, because that's why Europeans keep stealing our minds. And then there's plenty of resources that every element on the periodic table exists naturally in Africa, except for the ones that are unnatural, but that can be made, that can be man-made. But the natural elements are all in Africa, and Africa is the only place that needs no one else in order to survive, and it's the only place that has continued to be stolen from. So, at the end of the day, let's get back on topic. Pro-blackness, defined by you, just sounds like being black and happy, and supporting black people is not the same thing as being pro-black. Pro-blackness is prioritizing one's actions and values with what's in the best interest of building within the black community. And that's a definition, that's an amalgamation of books written by Dr. Amos Wilson, The Blueprint to Black Power, and Malcolm X's Organization of Afro-American Unity speech, also edited by John Henrik Clarke, the great historian. So at the end of the day, pro-blackness is not about just spending white dollars at a black establishment. That is more,
It's
survival.
support.
That's more, yeah, no, it's support. Yeah. It's supporting an individual, but it's not liberating a people. It's supporting an individual that
No,
didn't choose. It's
supporting a
supporting an
person's business is not
individual
liberating them.
that's not liberating them. No,
Not completely, but it's aiding.
I cannot liberate you with my oppressor's dollar. That's not how that works. If you
Uh,
think that's find me a scholar that said we can liberate. Oh, actually, you probably bring up Claude Anderson. He's a weirdo. But let's talk to some more people. There's more people up here.
So,
We can come
so
back
I'm,
to that.
I'm thinking. Let me get this straight. So you're feeling that we can't, as a people, really get anywhere unless we have our own currency, our own. Well, I agree with you in the sense that we need our own system, but with how things are currently structured, getting that system is going to look a lot like what the Europeans have done to Haiti. For us to build our own nation for ourselves, we're going to have continued outside meddlesome. We're going to have insiders that are completely Europeanized that are going to be embedded inside of our societies. That's going to slow us down, if not completely derail us. Getting up to a point to where we have our own world recognized currency and then utilizing and trading with that currency. China's trying to own the currency market well before Africa does, and they're trying to use Africa to do it. So before all that, we got to get the money game down. And that takes us to take back the resources and start doling out
What
how
happens
our
before
money is
money?
going to be utilized.
What happens before money is minted? What do you need? What type of system do you need in order to turn resources, whether it's labor or just resources? What kind of system turns resources and labor into money?
I want to say capitalism or debt.
I would say I was speaking more to economy, like labor in exchange for goods, trading, things like that already exist. The problem is it's being exploited. And when we say that we are going to liberate ourselves through an oppressive system where our ancestors were the first capital, it reminds me of a video I saw on Twitter where there was one of those rotisserie chickens from Walmart, and there were chickens, like live chickens eating the rotisserie chicken. Um, chickens eating chicken is basically what we say when we say we're going to uh, further capitalism for our oppressor and liberate ourselves at the same time. Like, if our oppressor is getting paid off the taxes made at black-owned businesses, we're not liberating ourselves. We're mitigating the effects of systemic oppression, and that is wonderful. We're mitigating the effects of economic disparities and marginalization, to a degree. That is wonderful. That's not the same thing as liberation. Liberation means we have or else money. You know know what I mean by or else? I mean,
Yeah, F you money. Like
yeah,
you got
we
enough to
don't.
where you
Yeah.
can't threaten my
So
job because I can pay for everything
and
still.
so the only way to get fu money is and even reparations, right? Because we can't even get reparation if Massa in the White House say he ain't giving nobody no reparations. What Black Americans gonna do about it? They ain't gonna do a thing. Ain't nothing
You're
we
still going
can
to go
do.
out and vote.
Yeah, you go out and vote all you want to. If they say no, ain't nothing going to change. And the thing is, we already have economy. We already have resources. We already have the greatest labor force in all of mankind. The problem is the people exploiting that have control over that land, resources, and labor. So the first thing that needs to happen is liberation in Africa. And as goes Africa, so goes all African people. Once we have a power base as Black people outside of the United States, that even if the United States were to do business with Africa, instead of exploiting Africa, if they were to do business with Africa, then Africa could sanction the United States whenever there's police brutality, whenever there's a George Floyd incident. Now we have or else money. And so that's the thing I'm talking about. Like, if we want to talk about economic liberation, then yeah, support Black businesses. Go ahead and spend your money from your white tea man at a Black establishment. That is wonderful. It helps mitigate the immediate effects of oppression. But if we're talking about liberation, we gotta start talking long game. And if we're talking long game, we gotta free African people first.
So that long game still looks like economic advantages, and still, while that system is built, we still have to use this currency in this system. So
Mm-hmm.
in that, it's really that we have to get brave again and start rebuilding our economic hubs. Atlanta's a decent restart in essence, but we need to have a majority of those, and I'm just speaking about America for right now because we're Black American, um, is having more financial hubs for us. We need to rebuild Black Wall Street. We need to
And what
rebuild
happens? What
these.
happens when they burn them down?
Well, what happened when they got burned down? They were displaced. That we had money in white banks, and those white banks held on to. Hell, Wells Fargo still has deposits from those people. So
Right.
it's your. So we need our own financial establishments. That's what you're talking about.
In the meantime, like it's kind of like saying, "Hey, man, your leg fell off. We're gonna put it on some ice, and we'll put a band-aid on this, but you need to go to the hospital." You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I'm not against Black people spending their dollars, even though they're not their dollars, the dollars we borrow.
It's fiat.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, spending our fiat with other Black businesses. But again, that is just a mechanism for survival, not liberation. And that's why I caution us to look at that as the final solution.
Yeah. But we would need a country or a continent that's going to become an
We have
economic
that.
powerhouse.
We have
I
that.
know we have it, but
Yeah, because Black Americans love to
functionally have it. Like
ignore.
we have it
We
in
have it.
the aspect of it's tangible, it's there, but do we have it actually obtained and
Do you know
ascertained
who
for
the
ourselves?
AES is?
ADS, no.
A as in African, E as in Echo, S as in Sam.
ECOWAS?
AES. No, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. You know who they are?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. So what needs to happen around the whole continent of Africa is already begun in the Francophone countries.
Yep.
Africa is currently going through a revolution. Guess what? That's the only way people have ever liberated themselves, through revolution. It wasn't through paying each other in Caesar's currency. It wasn't marrying and
No, it was
and
through
getting with the
violence.
oppressed. It was never any of that. It was never through voting. It was always through straight up
Well,
revolution.
I
That's the
agree.
only way to do it.
I've directly come from lineage of people that literally killed whites, unalived,
Yeah.
unalived white supremacists and raided slave camps and all that fun stuff. So like I have a direct stake in the fact that like yeah, you do actually have to bust some skulls to get what you need out of life. But can I do one thing, Mayor? I want to apologize to you, brother, because if there's one thing that I want to do publicly is I came on and I insulted you, and us as black men, we need to be able to have a conversation without emotions getting flared up. I can admit that I came in hot and came at you in a highly negative way, which set our ability to communicate in the wrong path. So I want to be a man and just straight up say, my bad, dude. I should have had a lot more patience with you and had a more open dialogue so that way we can work together as opposed to work against each other.
I love that.
No, I appreciate it, man. I was ready to defend, so I wasn't
No,
even.
I feel
It
you.
was a challenge to me, so
All
I
right.
ain't tripping over it. What y'all, everything that y'all just spoke about, I pretty much agree on all of it in terms of the future for Black Americans and so-called Black Americans and who we're gonna be and what we're gonna do tomorrow. So I mean, yeah, I don't really have a disagreement with most of what y'all said, except for like the part about trying to be isolationist. Like we got to trade with people, man, because people
It's
got
not
resources and things that we don't
I
have.
don't.
that's a Eurocentric way to look at liberation, brother.
Is is
That's a
not. No, I
Euro
didn't say I didn't say liberation. I just advancement.
advancement in terms of oppression is always liberation, brother.
So
Progress. When you in chains, progress is always getting out them damn chains. So
so
at the end of the day, I just want to say that to call it isolationism is the echoes of the slave master that was afraid that we would run off the plantation. When we ran off the plantation, he was saying that we was causing separation and division. But when we run away and get start to build within our own communities and have self-determination, like Malcolm X said, then that's when we have black power. In the meantime, yeah, we do have to do business and operate a certain way in the meantime. But when you call it isolationism, I call it separation. And no one looks at a movie like Halloween or Freddy versus Jason or any type of scary movie and say that the person running away from Jason is isolationism. Like, no, we have 400 years of hatred and oppression against our people. I think we need a little distance. It'll be all right.
And so, Mir, I think what you're worried about is like us isolating ourselves and not being able to trade or have a relationship. The one reason why that's typically a talking point for Europe is because they're the global minority. If majority of these countries just in Africa alone starts to sanction them from the resources that they get, that is what will actually isolate them because they can't create or do any of the things that they do without those materials.
Without,
If
right.
Africa and African Americans got a hold of that and was able to isolate that ability and isolate those resources, that is how they would feel isolated, that they won't have access. That's the only time this word isolation comes up, when it comes to us gatekeeping our culture, when it comes to us gatekeeping us, when it comes to us self-segregating ourselves. It's because they want access to us, because all they do is steal our ideas, steal our culture, steal our language, steal our AAVE. Like, that's what they do. So if we gatekeep, that's when we start hearing that, well, you're just being isolated. Like, we've never been able to just be us for us with us. They've always
Never.
been intermingling and interfering in our shit for 10,000 years, dude. Like, that's the part we need, is to actually take a step back. All black towns, all black inventions, all black innovators, all black medical system, all black electronic systems, all black computer companies, from the top down and from the down up. That's what we're talking about. Can white people join? Sure. Maybe, if they can live there. But odds are, if it's in a place
I
that
don't want
we
them
don't allow
joining.
them to be, they
Listen,
can't.
we,
They
we
can't be.
gotta give it. We gotta give it like 1,000 years. We gotta give it like 1,000 years. Listen, we don't need to be so quick. It's like a
Cool
woman
off
burn your.
period.
It's like a woman burn your crib down, and you ready to get back with her after you got a new crib. Now you ready to invite her over. Like, hold on, hold on. It's been 6,500 years since Dr. Chancellor Williams catalogs black oppression and the destruction of black civilization, and we already ready to even entertain the thought of inviting this crazy woman back over to our house so she can burn things down. I'm good.
I respect it. I mean, at
Yeah,
least
I'm
at
not. I'm
least a
not saying
millennium
that
of
we don't
separation would be
need. We
nice.
don't need Europeans.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need Asians either. We don't need any other group of people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
Nah,
saying,
they need us, and that's why they tell you that it's isolationism, because if they isolated in Europe, if they were all to go the hell back to Europe and isolate themselves, they don't got no gold, they don't got no diamonds, they don't got no nothing. Like, they don't even got oil.
Oh, they don't.
They built a pipeline from Niger all the way up to France. They're trying to build it, but the whole revolution kind of shut that down. But they was building a pipeline, literally a pipeline, to take oil out of Africa and lead all the way up to Europe because they don't have oil.
brother.
They're
They
I
took
mad
it
know,
from
about
Russia.
the
brother.
war
I'm
with
aware of this.
Ukraine
This is.
because they don't have Russian oil to warm their houses.
I'm aware of this. This is the reason for the Germanic expansion and European colonization. They lack
Yeah.
resources. So
So of
I
course they're
know
going to
this, but
tell
I'm just
you.
saying,
So of course
like,
they're going to tell you isolationism is a bad thing. You don't want to be by yourself now, do you? No, you don't want to be by yourself. That's why you brought us all the way across the Atlantic Ocean, because y'all can't do nothing by yourself.
They're
We
parasites.
right, we do things by ourselves all the time. Well, we would, now, but traditionally, our great African empires were built by us, and a lot of us don't know our own history when it comes to that. It's a shame.
this
Let
is
me
Fuck
true.
let
tooth for
Joe talk,
colleges.
y'all. Let me let Joe talk. Joe's been up here. Joe, give us your age, your race, and your pronouns, please.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe, race, black, pronoun, hymns.
All right, talk to us.
Should I go to the topic or
Yeah, let's talk about the topic. Let's get back to the topic.
just a little? The first one, international relations, harmful to the black progress. No. The first one, no.
All right.
Is preference today another race a fetish? It depends.
Mm-hmm.
Can you be pro black with a non-black spouse. No,
Okay.
I don't think
Okay.
so.
So what do you define as pro-black?
Pro-black is when you create
What do
a
you define as pro-black?
pro-black is when you create a black family, you support other black people, and
Do you
you
think that's something that do you think having a black family and supporting black people, do you think that's something that benefits the black community?
yes,
Okay, so then why would you say that interracial relationships is something that is not harmful?
because you cannot convince everybody to be pro-black. There's always gonna be people who don't wanna be part of that.
Why do we have no one is why are you making that the measurement of whether or not something is beneficial if we can convince you can't convince everybody of anything. I can't even convince everybody that the sky is blue or the grass is green. Um, everybody's not convinced that the earth is round anymore. So I wouldn't say just because we can't convince everybody that something is not harmful. That's like if I say is influenza harmful, and it is like objectively it's harmful to your body to be sick. But just because we can't convince everybody that influenza is harmful, that it's not, like that doesn't make any sense.
I say that because and there's and I know a friend who's black and he's dating a white girl, and that doesn't bother me. It's no harmful to me. So I cannot say.
Okay.
I
Well,
I
that's
can.
the thing. That's the thing that I think a lot of us, especially black people, we look at things as in like emotion, and like how we feel about something is what makes it problematic or not. And honestly, it doesn't bother me either. The thing that bothers me though is that we are currently going through genocide in the Congo, war in Sudan, an oppression worldwide. What's
Mhm.
going on in Haiti and brothers and sisters in Brazil and Cuba, like just marginalization across the board, dehumanization. Black women are not safe, and we got time to do anything but liberation. If a man was in a furnace, a man was in a fiery furnace like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the Bible. If a man is in a furnace and he thinks to scratch his back instead of open the door of the furnace and step out of that furnace, that man has lost his mind.
Mhm.
There's something not right with the man that will sit in a fiery furnace and pick his nose and scratch his back. Now, are we saying people that pick their nose and scratch their back bother me? No. Does that man have every right to scratch his back and pick his nose in a fiery furnace? Absolutely. But is it harmful that he's doing anything but stepping his behind up out of a fiery furnace? Absolutely, because he's remaining in an environment that is hostile towards his health. He's remaining in an environment that is hostile towards his progress and his liberation. So,
Oh,
that being the case, anything that we do that is not constructive towards liberating ourselves in the midst of our oppression is something that is harmful inherently.
I would say
I know, but I think that when we talk about interaction dating, it's not like the majority of black people are not dating white people. So I think we have more important topics to talk about, like black men and black women dating each other, like how we can stop the gender war. Because
To be
uh
honest,
I so
the gender war is not a majority problem in our community either. But I would say that this topic this topic is not about interracial relationships. To me, this topic is about self-love and understanding the power dynamic in interracial relationships. We are in America. I'm not sure where you're from, my brother, but we're in
I'm in
America
France.
where where are you from?
I'm in France, Paris.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right, so yeah, y'all got Becky's out there, and a lot of brothers need to understand the danger that they put themselves in with this proximity to their oppressor. And a lot of brothers need to understand self-love. So we come up here and we kind of check the temperature of some people, and at the same time, ideally, just so that brothers and sisters watching could understand some of the talking points and the counter narrative to what they've been taught about interracial relationships, because we already deem it as something that's non-harmful. And that's just not the case.
I agree. So I married black, did date interracially at one point, clearly loved black women, non-religious. So majority of black women that I found weren't non-religious. So that was my main issue. I will always, if I can go back, I will always choose ours, because at the end of the day, there's conversations you don't need to have. The smell of the hair products that your woman will use are familiar. Everything about a black woman is familiar. There's no need to, if you're having a bad day at work or if something's happening, your wife understands, your woman understands, because she's a black woman. She gets it. And then when shit happens to her, so when stuff happens to her, you understand, or you understand that level of misogynistic aspects. You understand that aspect of just bias that will happen towards her. Communication doesn't need to happen, and just understanding and love actually happens. When it comes to interracial relationships, you're always combating against the ideology of the family, the ideology of the individual, the ideology of society. There's always these things that come up, and then it gets worse for you if you have children. Love who you love,
Yep.
cool. That's a great catchphrase and everything. But if there's one thing I can say from dipping my toe in both sides and diving into one side, there's one pool that's better for you. I'm just going to put it that way. There's one pool that will always fit you, that will always have the right temperature of water, that won't drown you. I'll put it that way.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to black women. And I also I'm also a brother that has a similar story to Jack. There was a time where I dipped my toe, and I've talked about it before. Somebody tried to get me with a gotcha moment on Twitter by digging up some old tweets where I said I'm gonna stop messing with the Beckys, and for some reason they were like, "Ooh, you used to," ooh, and they tried to turn that around. Somebody took a picture of some random white teen woman, said she was my wife. not a picture with me in it, just a random, like, I don't know who that person was. You will never find a picture of me with my arm around one of them. But yes, as someone that in my college years dabbled but didn't date, but dabbled, dabble do.
Bro,
I can
Lenji,
definitely tell y'all
even bro,
it's
Lenji,
not the same. Go
bro,
ahead.
Lenji, even if you dated a white woman in the past, that doesn't make your position today wrong.
Yeah, no, I know. That's what I'm saying is, understanding that now, we have to understand that, consciousness is not inherent, like innate. Like, if it was, there would be no such thing as pro-black. We'd just be black people. Black consciousness is a retention of your African identity and a rejection of white supremacy. And raised in a country like America, we're so inundated with white supremacy that it's just everywhere. So we don't even know to reject certain things. And I would say, man, the women that I was with that really like broke my heart crying when they left was always the sisters, you know what I'm saying? And I thank God I found my wife. And yeah, black women, we love y'all, man.
Bro, Lenji, so let's say that you have a friend who is dating a white woman. How what you gonna do to tell him like it is wrong and he should be with a black woman?
I wouldn't tell them it's wrong. If they're already in the milk, I'm not going to try to save them. I would honestly encourage that brother to do the best he can to maybe understand anti-racism and how he can, maybe survive that situation. Because what's the point of, I'm not out here policing everybody. It's not the same. That's the thing. Pan-Africanism is not a religion. Garveyism is not a religion. I don't have to go preach it to everybody and try to save everybody. If
I would
they,
just kidnap them and take them to Atlanta and Houston. That's all you need to do. Just kidnap them, put a blindfold on. Hey, we're going on a special trip, and then take the blindfold off. You in Houston now. Then give them whatever medicine. Forget about Becky. Forget about Becky.
Listen, man. Yeah, like the stuff I be seeing on TikTok is sad, man. It be a lot of brothers too, man. But yeah, like I'm not out here. I would tell that brother, I'm disappointed in your choice, but I could still impart knowledge, maybe help you through that situation as best as I know how. But once they've aligned themselves with their oppressor in the bedroom, they've already been compromised. We don't need them around us. They've already been compromised because I ask him this. This is what I ask him. If you could press a button right now and unalive every racist in the world on one button, just boop, and they all burn up, would you press that button? And I guarantee you, a brother in a relationship with a frosted female is going to have to say no, because even if it's not, even if he don't believe his woman is racist, she gonna have grandchildren. She gonna have grandparents. She gonna have parents. She gonna have uncles. She gonna have nieces, nephews, whoever it is in her family, and she gonna know that some of them are racist. And if that were a real case scenario, these brothers in interracial relationships couldn't press that button. I press that button immediately. Why? Because my interests don't my interests perfectly align with what my community needs, because my wife, my home, is part of our community.
I agree. That one, I don't remember the name of the creator, but someone made a video about he'll be damned if he creates generational wealth, and then one of his kids or grandkids starts blending, and then 50, 100 years down the line, the thing that their family is famous for doesn't have their family's face. That's the big thing that you should be really worried about. Jackie Robinson's doesn't have the face anymore. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, when we look at their kids and their future kids, when the American people be like, Michael Jackson's white. Who's going to argue?
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. That's the thing that happened in ancient Egypt. Let's talk about it. Ancient Egypt, Dr. Chancellor Williams talks about it. But also, that is what interracial relations. Let's think about it, y'all. When we wanted to vote, they hosed our ancestors down in the street. They sick dogs on them. There was dogs ripping at the mammary glands of our ancestors. You know what I'm saying? And they was bleeding from the face because of the beatings and all that other, just because we wanted to vote. When we wanted to sit at the lunch counters with them, same treatment. When we wanted to share the bathrooms and stuff. But one thing that we never had to go through a struggle to get? Interracial marriage. It was because a white tea man wanted to be with a sister. I think it was in Mississippi or Alabama. I'm not sure. Somebody can correct me. Loving versus Virginia in 1967. Loving versus Virginia was something we didn't have to march for. So why would your oppressor give you something to liberate you? It was because at that time, black men ain't have no choice but black women, and black women ain't have no choice but black men. And we came together and started saying we wanted black power. And so they said, you know what? You know what, black man? The power structure that has already oppressed you can also work in your best interest. Come and show us that. Come and show us that. That you can have. We'll show you rather that you can have power through our system. We'll even let you marry our women. And so that's when we started to see the elites. We started seeing the actors, Sidney Poitier, and I forgot the other brother's name, but we started seeing a lot of actors and movie stars and basketball players and everybody, all the wealth that they had created off black people started to go towards the white tea community for something that the white tea community decided they was going to make legal. We didn't even decide that.
So
Well,
here's something
I have a question.
thought. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, which one is worse, a black man dating a white woman or a white man dating a black woman?
Black men dating a white woman.
Why is that?
Because the child is more confused.
How?
According to Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, when a sister is with a marshmallow man, the child is told by the mother that the child that they are black. The mother says you are black. And so then that child begins to have a proximity, closeness with their mother, a level of intimacy, identifying with their mother's group, where they identifying with where they come from.
I disagree. Maybe over there, but here in France, a white man dating a white woman, the child is more likely to identify with the white side than the black side. I don't know if that's the same.
If a white man gets with a black woman, the child is more likely to identify with the white side.
Yes.
Yep. You got to keep in
White man is
consideration.
with a. So you telling me that don't make no sense, brother?
Well, keep in consideration of different cultures, like African
Nah, that don't
American
make
women.
no sense. That's
Hold on,
cap.
hold on.
That's gotta
So-
be cap.
No,
That's
it's not.
gotta be cap.
It's not. It's not. Read Destruction of a Civilization. They talk about Europeanizing the mind of people, and they started with women. So it's in the aspect of African American women, they're going to have pushback. Their
I'm
personality.
not
their
reading this from an African American perspective. I'm reading this. This
I
is
understand you're
from.
listening from a strictly
No, but I'm
African
not. No, but I'm
perspective.
saying y'all. I'm telling y'all now. If y'all are going to play the whole, oh, you're an American that don't know what they're talking about. You're just going from the perspective of Americans. I'm not. I have a source that I can give y'all about the study that was done in who I'm talking
Are you
about.
saying?
But I'm
global?
curious to know what y'all's explanation for this is because I didn't finish my point. But go ahead.
I mean, here in France, I'm just saying. Here in France, I know like 3 mix. Okay,
I
mixed.
didn't, but that's anecdotal. I didn't say that all of them will identify as black, but they definitely don't identify as white. That's why I'm saying it's cap.
They identify with the white culture more. They child marry white more.
What is identifying with the white culture more? Because there's no such thing as white culture. Number one. Number two.
Do you know a white
Look how
man?
many sisters are putting nope down in the comments. That's not how it works.
I mean,
I'm sorry, but
that's-
y'all need to let me finish my point.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
don't care where he's talking about. Blackness is the same worldwide.
No, it's
White
not.
culture don't exist, number one. White culture don't exist. Let's stop that right now. The only thing that y'all talking about white culture is colonization, stealing land and stealing people from their land. That's white culture. Second of all, you're telling me that France is so sick and twisted that children don't want to identify with their mother's social group. That don't make any sense. That don't make any sense. We come out of our mothers. You telling me that the bond between mother and child is different in France for some reason? That don't make no sense.
Okay, can I ask you this? Do you know any child from from a white man and a black woman who married black? Do you know any?
Yeah.
I only see a white man, a black man.
Yeah, but Joe,
black.
that's why that's why I keep muting you because you keep going to anecdotes. I know plenty. Like you keep going to anecdotes. Like stop doing that. We're not doing that. We're coming from research. Hold on, calm down. Let me tell y'all. Let me tell y'all about Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. Before we veer off all into anecdotes and who has seen this and what we've seen personally. Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, clinical psychologist, did a paper, the ISIS papers. Y'all can look them up. She says that when a mother has a child, when the mother is a black woman and the man is a white tea man, we understand that you cannot have a black mother and be white. Are we in agreement on that at least? You can't be white if you got a black mother, right? People in the comments, let me know. Can you be white with a black mother?
You can be black either.
Can you be white with a black mother?
No.
Okay. All right. No, stop, Joe, because you're a little ignorant.
Maternally is what makes you you. So
No, that's
If
not.
you,
Listen, y'all. No, please don't. Y'all are muddying up the live with nonsense. Hold on, man. Let me make the point. Hold on, because this is something so many people are confused about, and I don't know why. It's I think it's come from perception and not knowledge. You know, experience and knowledge are not the same thing. And black people have a common tendency to think they understand racism just because they experience it. It's not this. Just because you experience something does not make you knowledgeable on that topic. So let's understand that there has been studies done, and then let's talk from the scholars. Let's talk from the studies. Okay, so black woman has a child with a white man. That child is not white. Whiteness implies purity. Whiteness implies recessive genetics. You cannot have a mother that you come out of with dominant physical traits and you consider yourself recessive. It don't work that way, first of all. And that's on a genetic level, and that's the lowest level we can take it. But the fact that it starts there, we can take it much higher into society and how they're treated and all that stuff, and it's still aligned with whiteness. So it ain't no such thing as having a black mom and being white. Ain't no such thing as having a black mom and being white. Who knows about hypo descent? Who has ever heard of the word hypo descent? Who has ever heard that word? Hypo descent. Type in the comments if you heard of hypo descent. It is one of the rules written into the racist. There go the book. Jack got it up. But who has ever heard of the word hypo descent? If you know what hypo descent is, that's called the one drop rule. That is something that was written into the rules of the racial social hierarchy, oppressive social hierarchy of race, is that a drop of anything other than white makes you non-white. All right. So now what does it make you then? What does it make you? Because you can't be two things at the same time, can you?
So
How
you
you gonna be? They're not gonna if you have a white dad, they're not gonna give you half a ticket for speeding when you was going under the miles limit. When you get pulled over, the cop ain't gonna give you half a beating. He ain't
well,
gonna
let's
give you when you want a job, they're not gonna give you half a job. So at the end of the day, when the white woman has a child by a black man, she tells the child, you're biracial, you're mixed. She doesn't tell the child like the black woman does. When the black woman says, this child is the same as me, this child is black, the white woman says, you're different than me, you're biracial. That lack of proximity, that lack of identity with, that lack of identifying with your mother's own social group causes a disruption in that child where they see blackness as something that others them from their mother. And they only learn blackness through oppression and mistreatment. And they start to look at blackness as this dark, evil cloud above their head, holding them back. The reason they don't receive the love that they want from their mother. And then society reinforces that and doesn't treat them the same way they treat their mother. So then the child starts to have a resentment towards black people and starts to say, I don't fit in with the black people, and my mom don't accept me as white, so I don't fit in with the white people. So what am I? And that's what happens. That's what happens psychologically. That don't matter what country you from. That's what happens psychologically. Every child identifies with their mother. I don't care what language you speak, what part of Europe you from. Every child wants to feel a closeness to their mother. The white woman tells the child, you are biracial. The black woman tells the child, you are black. Now, do all black women do this? No. Look at Meghan Markle. Look at Meghan Markle.
and
Her
Doja
mother
Cat.
didn't do it. Now, I'm not speaking for every single black woman individual. I'm speaking about people groups as a whole. And that's a nuance that we have to pay attention to in this live. We're talking about people groups. We're not talking about anecdotes, and we're not talking about individuals. We're talking about people groups. And for the most part, when a black woman has a child by a white man, it's not better, meaning that it's good. It's just better, meaning that the child at least will identify with the culture of their mother because they feel a oneness with their mother. And I know that for certain because I have had many Black brothers and sisters all throughout the world. Join my Discord, b1initiative.org. The link is in my bio. We have almost 900 Pan-Africans all over the world. And trust me, the ones with a Black mother, you can tell. That's all I'm going to say. You can tell. All right. Let me go to the next guest. Bubba, are you with us? I never seen you come up here before.
Yeah, I'm here, bro.
Peace, Bubba. Go ahead, talk to us.
Peace. I'm not sure where to start because you know, but
It's
I
up to
just
you. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, give you the floor.
yeah, are interracial relationships harmful to the Black unity progress? Yes, because you can't build with another race if you say you prioritize your own. That's counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't say you're building for Black people and you're dating Asian man, white man, non-Black person. That doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm keeping it brief because I actually have to go. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's preferring to date another race a fetish. Yes.
Okay. All right.
You look on the internet and you see. Okay, how do I say this? Kind of it's like TOS with the those adult websites. I think y'all know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Black women are at the top of those, and that's just one example on how we are fetishized, and then the whole thing with the Black men. I don't think I need to explain that. That's a
Mm-hmm.
fetish. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it just all around weird and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. The fetish. Go ahead. I'll let you answer because I know you say you have to go.
Yeah, can you be pro-Black with a non-Black spouse? I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but it doesn't you hear that sound. That's why it's funny.
Yeah.
That should low key be a rhetorical question. I'm just like I said previously, how are you building for Black people if you're with a non-Black spouse? And what I hear on this live a lot of times, and people, try to refute that with you. They date a non-Black person and they say they're gonna make him or make her do this and that. Let's be honest. You're not gonna make that non-Black person do anything for your community. You hold no power in that relationship anyway. So how are you gonna make them, do what you see fit? If you actually see fit, if you actually focus on what's best for your community, you wouldn't been with them in the first place. That is how I feel.
That's right.
Yeah, but appreciate you having me up, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
So, host, there's one
Yeah.
thing that
Yeah,
me
go
and my
ahead, Jeff.
wife talked about really recently that we've noticed that it seems like every 3 generations, I would say last time there was like Woodstock, and the last time before that was when Barack Obama was in office. They try to promote interracial relationships because they're trying to re-up on genetic stock because they're dwindling. Their birth rates are dwindling. They know that our birth rates don't dwindle, and they know that scientifically we can produce more children at a higher clip for a longer period of life. Their way of staying on the planet, not only on the planet, but within relevancy, is to create these half breeds, do the exact same thing that you're talking about, where they have they have Black men being perpetrators in this, creating half breeds, bouncing out, doing their normal thing, being raised by the white mother. The child gains an affinity with the culture in which they identify with most, what oftentimes will be with what they're lacking. So 9 times out of 10, they'll either go towards another half breed or go towards white, which will further dilute that bloodline and thus create more of them. And if you notice this in the media, in the news, wow,
Mm-hmm.
they do this consistently. I would say, give about 7 years or so, and we're up on that marker where You're going to start seeing that if you haven't already. It's already happening on TikTok. A ton of pages are just coming up being, oh, interracial this. And it's like, okay, that's weird. It's genuinely an assault on our mind and our time.
I think it's yeah, no, that's a valid assessment. I would have to look up, more into the numbers, the years and all that, but um it is absolutely something that comes outside of our community, and what was started outside of our community. Like I said earlier, we never had to march for interracial relationships. That was not something that was made to empower us. It was actually made to do the opposite and take power from us. And um it's just wild how people who had open access to our bodies 130 years ago, to do with our bodies as they see fit, are now being welcomed into our community, by us. You know what I'm saying? And we're looking at this as, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if I took a woman from her house, she was sitting down with her family watching the Super Bowl or something, peacefully, and I took her from her family, took her from her house, and chained her up in my bathroom. Didn't feed her, didn't give her any, water, didn't, help improve her condition at all. But then turned around and told her, you know what, I love you. And she told me, I love you too. You would say that woman has Stockholm syndrome. Even if we went and got married in the bathroom, and I said, that's my wife in there, locked up, chained up to the toilet seat, you wouldn't say that love was real love. You would say she's still a victim, and he's using that love to, kind of sugarcoat the situation. Um, so it's the same thing here. Dr. Joy DeGroy talks about how, there was never a reparation. There was never a therapy session for Black people after the institution of slavery. We never got that time to heal. We're still in bondage. We're still prisoners of war on enemy territory, and somehow we don't got justice because we don't got peace, but we got time to love those that are the purveyor of injustice. It don't make no sense. It just don't make no sense. And so that's, what the live is about, to ask people to think critically. Why? My live, my whole platform is based on the work of Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. Y'all can look him up. He wrote the compensatory counter racist code. It's a textbook. And it speaks about how anything that we as Black people do that is non-constructive towards our liberation, is to our own detriment. Anything that we do that is not constructive to us stepping out of a fiery furnace is something that is inherently hostile. So that's just how that works.
I think with this topic, one book that the audience should pick up is Black Skin, White Mask by Franz
Oh
Fanon.
yeah, that's another one too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And yeah, that is another thing, as far as their birth rate, it's in decline. Our birth rate is skyrocketing on the continent of Africa, especially. The average person in Africa is 20 years old, because there's that many children. Like, they're just having kids and kids and kids and kids. Big up to the brothers and sisters on the continent. They're saying we're gonna surpass China, I believe, by 2050. So yeah, the blackening is happening, and the earth is going back to its natural state. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you. It just that blackening needs to happen in the U.S. As well, so we can up our population here. But host, I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna drop down to give other people a shot of getting up here and speaking their mind. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
Sure.
Love what you're doing. I'm gonna stay following.
Absolutely, absolutely, brother. Appreciate you.
Appreciate
Hope
you,
to see
man.
you soon.
Let
One
me
love.
get on camera to give you the fist.
Absolutely, absolutely. One love, Black Power.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right. Thankful, what's going on? Give us your age, race, and pronouns.
Hello, I am 39, black all day, every day, and pronouns are she, her.
All right, talk to us, sister.
All right, so are interracial relationships harmful to the black community? Progress? Absolutely harmful. Detrimental? Do not assist in any way. It is funny how when you listen to people come up, black people come up and they're talking about their, non-black spouse, it seems like they're confused about reality. And sadly, if they have children, then the children are confused about reality. Um, is preferring to date another race a fetish? Absolutely a fetish. Um, the brother Bubba mentioned, the top search results for certain websites. Says a lot. Also correlates to why so many of our black little girls and women, thousands, go missing every year and end up, in a certain type of system, if you know what I'm talking about. To a certain type of human system that majority middle-aged white tea married men benefit from. That's definitely a fetish.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
you
yeah. We can
know?
talk about it. Right. Them SWs on the
Mm-hmm.
corner. The average ones is sisters between the ages of, I think it's like 10 and 14. And the number one patron is white tea men in
Come
the
on.
middle aged
Ex-
white men. Yeah.
exactly. We have examples literally in our face, you
Hmm.
know? And can you be pro-black with a non-black spouse? No, you cannot. Me personally, I am tired of people trying to change the definition of what pro-blackness is so that they don't feel bad about what they're doing, because that's really what it is.
Hmm.
You know, um, pro-blackness was defined by scholars to
Hmm.
specifically combat white tea supremacy.
Hmm.
And just because people want to live a certain way, you cannot include yourself in that.
Hmm.
Um, you cannot be pro-black. First, let me back up a little bit. People need to stop thinking that pro-blackness is just, I'm black and I'm proud. I'm black and I'm just happy to be black. I'm happy to say I am. It's not just about that. It's not about this individual aspect. You speak to black people that have a non-black spouse and they'll say, well, they treat me good. But that's not what
Hmm.
pro-blackness is.
Right.
It's taking that, it's taking that self-awareness, that awareness of being black and elevating it to now, how do my actions affect the black community?
Right. Absolutely. Ubuntu.
Mhm.
Ujima.
Okay?
Collective responsibility. Absolutely.
Right. So, and people are struggling with that. And, I just try to correct people like, no, that's not being pro-black.
Hmm. Absolutely. That's facts, sister. That's facts.
Yeah.
They definitely playing in our face. Um, Black men are the most fetishized men on the planet, to the point where we're the most likely to be SA'd. A lot of people don't talk about this. A lot of brothers don't talk about it. But then it also becomes kind of hard to speak on, even in black spaces. But you know, there's been times, I'll say it this way: women, you know, have to think twice before they walk out the house wearing certain things, because the world that we live in, someone might use that as a justification. You know what I'm saying? No matter what you wear, it could go down. You know what I'm saying? But it could be used as a justification. Black men also have to be careful what they wear when they walk out. Not for the same reason, but it is also dangerous for us, sometimes to walk out the house with just a hoodie on. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
Mhm.
it's like just that, like black men's social status in society, we're seen is non-men. And there's a book about this called Man Not by Dr. Tommy J. Curry. And I
Mm.
encourage all black, especially the brothers, but I really, really, really encourage black women that got black men in their proximity. Or even if honestly, if you're on a self-healing journey from maybe some type of resentment you have towards black men for anything that was done, because I know brothers is knuckleheads, and anyone that's healing from and wants to understand more about what black men are going through, I encourage y'all to check out this book. It's called Man Not, and he talks about how black men are not really truly seen as men in society, and that's the reason why that we're fetishized, because there ain't nothing else about no other man that's fetishized. I mean, women in other races are fetishized, right? But what are you fetishizing about a white man? What are you fetishizing about an Asian man? What are you fetishizing? You see what I'm saying? Like, what is?
Hmm.
Ooh, they're good at they got what physical trait gets fetishized about any other race of man other than the
Nothing.
you see what I'm saying? Right.
Hmm. Well, thank you for having me up.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you for coming up, sister. And if you want, you can hang out, but I'm gonna go to the next guest. Paleo, give us your age, your race, your pronouns, please.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear my mic? Do I
Yes,
sound
we
good?
do. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you're having a good day, host. So, I'm black. I'm also 23 years old and whatnot. So, yeah, I guess I'll proceed to answer some of the following questions up here. Are interracial relationships harmful to the black community or progress? I will argue no, and I will make this exact same statement whether I was dating someone who was of a black descent, of white descent, or Hispanic descent, which, as you can see, my fiance is of Hispanic descent. To answer the next question, is preferring to date another race a fetish? It absolutely can be. Like, if the sole reason why you are dating someone is because they're black, or because they're Asian, or because, like, they're whatever race, then yes. If the sole reason is because of their race, yeah, that is harmful. I feel that relationships should be based off values, should be based off, like, common interest, not just simply by the color of their skin. Can you be pro-black with a non-black spouse? I'll argue I am. Even though I am dating someone or engaged with someone of Hispanic descent, I push heavily for black unity, black progress. I mention things that affect the black community on a daily basis. That's my entire platform. So yeah.
Okay, so why is that your platform?
Because as a black man, I care about black issues. Like, for example, I'm in STEM, and as you know, the STEM community has a problem with looking down on people of color or looking down on people who are women. And as someone who's an aspiring scientist right now in biology, is I feel that not many black people go into because they're discouraged by like institutions that have a history of negatively impacting people who are black.
All right, so do you make money in STEM?
I'm still a college student at the moment, so not quite yet. I mean,
So you
you
plan
begin
on
to
it.
make money once you're a PhD because it's an actual job at that point versus you going to like a regular class.
But I'm saying you plan on it then.
Yeah, I'm still in college right now. Yeah.
All right. So what do you do for black people that doesn't align with your own uh, personal interests? What do you care about all black issues or just the ones that can get you paid?
I care about all black issues, all of
Okay.
them.
So do you care about poverty in the black community?
Absolutely. Yeah, and this is why I push so much for like college education and whatnot. Because the more college educated people can become, the more likely able to make more money. I believe it's like the average college
Not
person,
true, but I
generally
hear you.
speaking,
That's actually that's been disproven. When it comes to black
really.
women, yeah, a black woman gets paid as much with a master's degree as a white woman with a high school diploma. But anyway, um, if you
Okay.
care
I said
about
generally or
poverty,
typically speaking.
then what is? Do you know what the number one predictor of someone falling below the poverty line is in the black community?
said the number one poverty. Let me see, because I
The
know there's
number
many
one
different
predictor,
factors.
statistically, the number one predictor in what uh, people will fall below the poverty line. Like, what behavior do you think is the number one predictor in someone falling below the poverty line in the black community?
Hold on, real quick, cause I will try to answer that because that is a question that I'm still kind of figuring out. Do people think I'm not black? Because that's
Don't
pretty
listen to the
colorist
comments.
of people.
Yeah,
Oh,
don't colorist. Don't fall into the comments. We don't know what color you are. Just don't ignore them.
yeah, I'm seeing
Right
multiple.
now, we
Yeah.
talking. We good. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you good. You black.
Uh,
So what behavior predicts falling below the poverty line in the black community?
um, what behavior? Um, is it just one behavior or many? I would say there's many. I know there's like income inequality due to like institutional racism that prevents black people from getting certain kinds of jobs because,
Okay.
like for example, like
Which
names.
community, which demographic, male or female, do you feel in the black community is affected by poverty most?
I would probably say black men. I believe it's like a statistic like around 1/5 of black men are more likely to go to jail. Is that true or is that accurate or
That's
is that
true,
wrong?
but it's not the men, it's the women. And the number one predictor of poverty, the easiest way to predict if someone will fall below the poverty line in the black community is being a single parent that is unmarried. An unmarried single black woman is the most likely to fall below the poverty line. Do you know that? So now let's think about this,
Hmm.
right? Let's say I just
Mm-hmm.
taught you that. So that being the case, if she's a single parent, she has two people to provide for, right? She has two people to provide for. She got her and she got her child. She has no help. So where is the help? Where is the help? When babies are born in the black community, there are 105 boys born for every 100 women, girls. 105 boys for every 100 girls. So there's actually more boys in our community at birth than girls. But then by the time you get to the age 18, there are almost two women for every single bachelor in the black community. So what happened to all the boys? Well, there's a few things. Well, 15% of them marry non-black people. So a lot of them take their wealth with them. That wealth that could go towards a black woman that is the most likely to end up below the poverty line. Instead, they take it to another community. Then we have, men that choose men. Not to say that, that's a thing, but it is a thing. And then also, we have the what's the third thing? I forgot. Oh yeah, mass incarceration, and then not even making it to the age 18 is pretty common, or more common than in other communities in our community for black men. For black men, so that being the case, would you still say that you care about poverty in the black community and aligning yourself with what's in the best interest of the black community while also adding to or I would say maybe not, if you don't want to consider it adding, at least not addressing that issue within your own personal life by, you know, turning away from sisters that could use your STEM intelligence and good job that you're going to get in STEM to take care of black children.
I mean, I would simply argue that like making more black communities that are low income and high income, right? Rebuilding infrastructures, making better textbooks, making it so that there are more laws in place that prevent companies
Anything
or
else,
businesses from
but
demonstration. I mean,
so
I
you're
advocate these things.
you're saying you're coming up with other excuses. Anything else
Well, these
except
aren't
the
excuses; these are
easiest one,
solutions
the easiest solution right in front of your
for better
face.
outcomes.
The easiest solution right in front of your face is to marry a black woman, get your job, build your institutions, do all that other stuff, and marry a black woman and be there to help her remain above the poverty line so that you two can excel together. You see what I'm saying? Black love is
But why do
revolution.
we have to go to that solution, even though they're like ones that not only make sure people are like, because I'm a big liberal, and I just gave you solutions in which that which work, right? Simply telling someone to just date what's inside their race, that doesn't solve or fix larger systemic issues.
I
You
just told you
solve
how
larger
it would.
systemic
I
issues,
just told you how it would. You can say
and I
there's
just gave
other
you and I gave you ones that
you
actually
can
work.
say there's other solutions, but there's never been a community that built itself up with people outside of the community before. That's never happened in all of mankind history. The foundation of community has always been a woman from that community, a man from that community, making children in that community. That's always been how communities have been built. But for some reason, we're so brainwashed that we think that we're going to build a black community with non-black people in it. How does
Can
that
I ask
work?
you a question on that? So do you have any kind of evidence in sociology that dating within your race is like a better it produces better outcomes for people who are black rather than fixing things like income inequality or redistribution or fixing ways that systemic racism affects like things like criminality? Do you have any evidence that's way
Yeah.
higher than those things actually work?
Yeah. There's plenty of evidence. I literally just told you
Yeah, can you name me a source?
that the number one predictor of falling below the poverty line in the black community is a single mother that is unmarried. Literally marrying her changes the trajectory of her income uh, enormously and improves the chances of her being successful at raising that child, where the child doesn't have to psychologically watch their mother struggle to provide because that
Yeah, but
mother
I'm
now
asking you
has
for like a
two people
source.
in the community. You can
Yeah,
say
so
that you can love your black ass. You can say that you love black people and be with a non-black person. Absolutely. Nobody can take that from you. But you are not in the paint with us working to build a better community when you go outside our community. And that is just factual. If you want to look up some resources, I encourage you, brother, to look at b1initiative.org. We got plenty of resources. We've been compiling data for over a year, and it's really not that hard to understand because the sources have already been. It's empirical data, like for you to
Bro,
look up. Like it's not even.
brother,
Yeah.
brother
yeah, so
legend.
like
But
Now,
the
yeah,
thing,
go
I
ahead,
think,
Abby.
no, I was gonna say the things that brother legend cited are evidence in and of themselves. Because if the number one predictor of poverty in the black community is marital status and like having a child out of like a child without another parent, like we know that I know what you're saying, I'm sure, can alleviate poverty in some regard, but it's important that like the number one like factor in terms of like poverty isn't like lack of infrastructure, and it's not proximity to infrastructure, and the number one cause of poverty in the black community isn't access to education. In fact, we know, as brother legend cited, that a black woman, even when she's educated, still makes as much as a white woman who's with a high school diploma. So we know that the number one predictors of poverty in the black community aren't access to education and aren't access to infrastructure. Although those I'm sure are factors, the number one predictor of of poverty within the black community is if you're a single parent with a child. And I think you're offering remedies that are not directly addressing the number one factor.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. Hey, man, I'm glad Africa Debunked is on our side. This is smart, brother. I'm being honest with you. Africa Debunked, y'all. If y'all check him out, check out his page. He got a lot of knowledge. Gems he be dropping in his content, man. Is if y'all want to know more, just about your history, your people, and what's going on, check out his page.
But yeah, absolutely.
Bro, yeah, I don't know how you can give him the source and say this is the number one predictor, and he's like talking about, yeah, but I'm gonna help people with education, and like, bro, like, no, but education isn't that's not the number one predictor. Why are you talking about education? Like, we already know that black women are disproportionately educated within America, and they're still poor. Clearly, it's not education is not the be all and end all. But I
right.
think that yeah, people don't want to. Yeah, I didn't think you wanted to probably address what you were saying.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the thing. When black men do get the job, we get paid more than black women do. And that's the thing. We're less likely to get the job, but when we do get the job, we get paid more. We're so that's the thing where even though black women are the most highly educated, when it comes to poverty, um, we owe our allegiance to black women. There's a debt we as black men have to pay to black women in terms of our oppression, and that is through an allegiance to her because she's carried us so far. And then we come up here and try to say that we're for the community while being for a different woman. You don't want to put out the fires in your own community. You would rather just go drink water with somebody else. When we need water here in our community to put out the fire, you taking your water to another community to go waste it. Maybe go have a water fight. And we our sisters need water here. We owe our allegiance to black women, y'all, especially the brothers. And let Bockley Bip talk to us. What's going on? Give us your age, race, and pronouns for this live. I know you've been up here before.
Hey, how's it going? Ages 20, 25. Pronouns are he, him, they. Race is black.
All right, appreciate you. Talk to us.
So for the first topic, let's see. So unity, I feel like dating interracially though for me is not inherently an issue. I think there are too many dynamics at play that can make somebody problematic or be against black unity, whether they're dating interracially or not. And I've witnessed that myself, being black from a black community. uh, is preferring the other race a fetish? I think a preference though is odd and awkward because if you prefer a different race, usually it comes from prejudice and stereotypes, and you're also neglecting different people, because not everyone of one race looks the same. Everyone that's black doesn't look the same. Everyone that's white. So why are you trying to neglect the person that's black or white or Asian? Like, because they say, oh, that's my preference though, but like doesn't make sense because it's weird. So usually it comes from stereotypes. Number three, I find the idea of pro-black at times, the title can be a bit arbitrary, and it tends to protract and retract depending on where you are. And I say that because I have seen people who are extremely for black people, who are black in the black community, doing all kinds of like real work, like in the trenches, of doing actual work. But then someone will say, "Oh, you're not pro-black though, because they're currently dating somebody that's not black." But they'll date black women though, but be open to dating somebody non-black, and all of a sudden
What
you
work are
just
they
take away
doing?
that pro-black title. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of weird to me.
What
So I
work
find
are they doing?
they're in communities doing actual like anti-violence work, doing actual like black business education work, doing like everything under the sun you can think of that like involves community building. They're doing those things.
If they're doing all these things, but I think the contradiction and the thing that people point out is that if you're doing all these things in terms of your personal time, and you're giving your expertise and your time and effort into the black community, why doesn't your personal life why doesn't it reflect your vocational practices?
So yeah, and
Why,
I think
what
it does too. So I think that there is a misunderstanding. So this topic has actually made me think very deeply. I'm trying to be as pragmatic as possible. So me being from the black community, I actually went around. I activated the Lyft app. I became a Lyft driver. I drove around my community not just in these cars, but also in spaces too. I asked a majority, mostly black people, this question by the hundreds. And every person I asked, every single black person I've asked, they said they don't have a problem at all with dating interracially. But most of them, they say, well, some of them say, oh, I prefer to have a black man, a black wife. But my brother dates somebody who's Mexican, indigenous Mexican, or Asian, and they're hella cool. I love them. But no one in the black community had a problem though with dating racially. Nobody.
Why
Fast.
I
would
think
why
I
would anyone
you
share
don't.
that they have a problem with someone dating interracially with their Lyft driver? First of all, like what? Like they don't know what your spouse is, and you're
Oh
driving.
yeah. That's one. So like I said, I was also in spaces too. I've been in spaces before. I asked people in my family. I asked people in spaces. I asked people in Lyft rides. Like it wasn't just that, but like I've asked people in different
Then if that's
environments.
the case,
Okay.
then why do more than 85% of black? Well, actually, I think it's more than 85, but I know it's 85 for black men. Why do 85% of black men marry black women? 85% of married black women are married to black women, and I
I
think
think,
it's 90% of black women that are married to black men.
yeah, I do think that every race tends to date their own race in the majority, right? I don't have the actual numbers though, but every race, from what I understand, dates their own race in the majority. Asian, white, indigenous, black. But that doesn't mean that they have an issue with it though. That's just what they're in proximity to that. It's more
What do you
familiar to
mean by
them.
have an issue? Do you mean
So,
emotionally? Do you mean like
so,
it's a sin, like coming to Christ?
so what I have noticed though too in different panels though, I've seen a lot of panels though will discourage it. So that means they're against it. So they'll discourage it, and they'll even at times vilify people. I've seen it before.
I want to
I've seen it
ask
happen.
everybody.
Not you.
I want to ask everybody if you was if you was to I'm sorry, smart sister. You got a lot of noise. I just we're gonna let smart sister talk in a moment. But if you was to pour a whole cup of sugar into a pitcher of Kool-Aid, how many black people would say they have a problem with it?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know where we're going with this question, but I don't know. I don't know.
What I'm trying to say is, if I said, here's a whole bucket of fried chicken, go ahead and eat this, or I shouldn't even say fried chicken. Dang, I just realized that's a racial.
Mm,
But
mm,
what I'm trying
mm.
to say is the black community is not always going to identify something as problematic, even if it is unhealthy and a toxic part of our quote unquote culture. You know what I'm saying? Like our culture is built in oppression and survival. So, you know, there was black people during the institution of slavery. According to Dr. Neely Fuller Jr., you would walk up to a black man who was enslaved and ask him if he was a
Yeah.
slave, and he would tell you no. He would tell you
Yeah.
no. Master's my business partner. I got my part of the plantation, and he got his. I got my banjo, and I got my woman. I ain't no slave. And so what I'm
That's
trying to
real.
say is, even if what you're saying is true, right? And let's say everyone that answered you answered truthfully, it doesn't
Yeah.
align with, of course, the consensus of what people do, because usually actions and beliefs have to align in order for us to even get to the point of the argument to where most black people feel like interracial relationships is okay. But then the thing is, even if that was the case, it doesn't mean that it's not harmful. The question up above us says, is it harmful towards black unity and progress? So
I don't think
it
so.
could still be harmful if the people that it's harming are complicit and express interest in furthering that harm. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
So
think
like
that's a very strong point too. But I want to respond to Africa real quick earlier about what he said to me. He's saying, "How can your personal life not reflect upon your actions or your words?" So that's what I was saying earlier. Is that I think there's a huge misunderstanding there because a lot of people there's this like idea, this finite idea, right? Like a finite source idea. People typically think that, and it does happen though. People who date interracially they abandon, they divest. But people who date interracially, though, they're still very much a part of their culture. And it goes by parent, case by case, because a lot of these parents, they want their kids to be black. They want their kids to grow up with black culture, you know? Does it not happen? Of course it doesn't happen. But from my experience,
we're not talking about enjoying black culture. We're
I
talking
think
about black
not
liberation.
enjoying, but being
Yeah.
part of, and to also respond to Africa too. Like you can still very much be in the black community and have a non-black spouse. That's just realistic.
I didn't say that like you're not. I didn't say that you're excommunicated from the black community if you have a non-black spouse. But I think even like you asking people, I don't know, within your like proximity or within your local community,
Yeah,
about like what they think about interracial relationships. Like I don't think whatever feedback you got from your small sample group, that doesn't negate
it
like
was pretty good.
the fact. But I don't think it's anecdotal, and I don't think it negates the wider fact and the economic consequences of especially if you're a black person and you're dating a white person and like you're taking. I think there's economic consequences to our dating, to some of our dating patterns, and there's also like economic consequences, especially when our most educated and our richest and some of our best and brightest are dating outside of our community. And I think when we talk about falling in love, like people don't just fall in love. Like love isn't just something that just falls. Love isn't some ghost that arrests you like in the middle when you're just walking down the street. Love is a reflection of your priorities and your values. Like you're not just open to falling in love with everybody. Even the fact that you're open to like falling in love with a white person is reflective of your worldview, your priorities, and your values. Because like like you're like there's people like I think like whenever you take race out of it, black people understand. Because if we weren't talking about race and we were talking about Christianity, and I was telling you, hey, it doesn't make sense to go and take your resources and be with someone who you're not equally yoked to, who's a Muslim, who's Hindu, who's Buddhist. Everyone would get it. But as soon as we say, hey, there's economic consequences for like making your biggest life investment outside of your community, especially when you're taking your biggest life investment and you're putting it into the hands of your oppressor's daughter or your oppressor's son. I think that there's economic consequences to that. There's economic consequences to a STEM graduate who's going to be making millions of dollars throughout his career. Is going to be putting the primary benefactor of that is going to be his white wife. I think there is economic consequences to that, and we don't have to like that doesn't negate someone being black, that doesn't negate them being part of the community, but we can be honest about like the economic. And I think that when you understand that there's economic consequences to that, and then you juxtapose that next to the fact that, hey man, we're a community in crisis. Like I don't understand like how you can know you come from a community in crisis, so you're not making decisions as if like your community is just in a normal state. Your community is in crisis. You know that, and you've elevated yourself to get a STEM degree, and now you want to make your biggest investment outside of your community. That feels like that's why people point fingers, because on the surface that looks like a betrayal. That looks like a betrayal. That you know that you're educated enough to know that your community and you're aware enough to know your community is in crisis. You've gone and educated yourself to provide resources for you and your loved ones, and then you make the voluntary choice to go and put that into the hands of your oppressor's daughter.
Absolutely.
That's why people point the finger.
That's fact.
Okay, so I want to respond to that real quick.
Hold on, we gotta let the elder speak, man. What's going on, sister?
Okay.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, I'm well.
Is this
I'm well.
better? I was at Starbucks, so I'm outside now, so hopefully this sounds a little better. But
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm glad to hear your voice, sister.
Same here. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with the brother right under me. Let's just break it all down. It's no such thing as just falling in love. Like he said, let's face it, when you approach a white girl, you gotta hope she ain't gonna turn around and say, "You black Alabama porch monkey, get out of my face." You know what I'm saying? You gotta get over that initially. So all this, oh, she just happened to be white, and that, no, you had to cross that barrier first before y'all even went on your first date, had your first phone conversation, whatever. It just is what it is. And as the brother says, to me, everything that makes you a black man, you should take into account. And why would you want to be with your oppressor? Why? after so much, like as Brother Legend just said about what black women have done, how we have carried our people for so long, and all we want is a little affection and a little attention from our own men, and they so busy, knocking each other down to get to a white woman. How do you think that really makes us feel? After all this time, we've been great. We've carried on. We've done whatever we had to do. We're the least likely to marry out of our race. We still trying to hold on for the brothers. And then to hear brothers pontificating on how they're still, they black by day and white by night. Sorry, sorry. And me personally, I don't care what you do. You can volunteer, you can do whatever, you can do whatever. But the fact that you would leave a sister for somebody else, to me, is just unconscionable. To me, in my opinion, the fact that in a perfect world where everybody should love one another and kumbaya, okay, maybe then. But we're nowhere near that perfect world. And as the brother said, we're in crisis. So what are we doing? And I would be ashamed, me personally, to make that kind of choice. Now, people are going to do what they're going to do, okay? And it's your life, live your life, do whatever. But if you want to wonder why people in the community will look at you with side eye and you suspect, that's why. And I don't think that's that hard to understand. I really don't.
Also,
Go
like I
ahead.
think
It's your answer.
some of the example I always give is like the Jacksons, because like the Jacksons for me is a glaring example of like what can happen when like people, that's $1 billion family, the most famous family in like in black in like recorded black history. Like I can't think of a more famous, especially in modern black history. There's not a more famous family than the Jacksons, and every single penny that family has done blood, sweat, and tears for has now been transferred within 3 generations to white grandchildren and white great grandchildren. Show me where that has happened in reverse. Show me the Asian $1 billion family that like has now all the grandchildren are black. Show me the white $1 billion family where the grandparents are billionaires and the grandchildren are all black. Show me that these things don't exist anywhere else but in our community. And we have to ask ourselves why? Because there's a transfer of wealth going on.
So I actually found out that about 12 out of, I could be wrong, but I think it's 12 out of 16 black billionaires though have black wives. I just found out that stat.
That's the easiest
So
way.
4 of them don't. So that's 4 billionaires that's giving white people their money.
So that is
So what?
wait, guys, that's 25% of black billionaires do not have a black wife. Can you imagine 25% of
majority.
white? Can you think of 25% of like Asian billionaires not having Asian wives? Can you imagine 25% of white billionaires not having white wives? That's an insane number.
Yeah, actually, it's
That
hard
is
to
an
change though. These people from these areas that are Asian, from Korea, China, India, a lot of their kids now, Gen Z and the one before them, they're trying to challenge old school ideas too. Now, a lot of them are dating people who are non-Asian. And
no. Wait. Show me the Asian equivalent of the Jacksons, where you have an established $1 billion Asian family where all the grandkids. Because it doesn't even have to be as bad as the Jacksons, because the Jacksons, all the grandkids are mixed race and white. Tell me the $1 billion Asian family where one of the grandkids are black. Just one.
I have a friend who's a millionaire whose grandparents are Asian.
That's not why, bro. We can disagree and we can have a discourse and we can learn from each other. But please answer my questions, brother. You have to, Ryan. Ryan.
If you want to swim in the milk, go ahead.
Ryan, please answer my questions in good. Ryan, can you answer my questions in good faith? Like, please. So when I ask you things, like, don't answer different things. There's like, do you not? I don't want to hear about millionaires. I'm asking like billionaires. Show me that. Can you name an A? Because I can name like there's entire black lineages that are now white, billionaire black lineages that are now white. Show me an Asian billionaire family where just one of the grandkids are now black. Just
I
one.
let's look it up.
Where they've had name me an Asian billionaire family where they've had 2 generations of people marrying black people. That doesn't exist.
I don't know if it doesn't or do not. I would look it up.
It doesn't exist. You go look it up. It doesn't exist.
doesn't.
It does not
And it's
exist
okay if you want to swim in the milk. Go right ahead. Have your cave, girl. Please do. Help us clean the gene pool. Go
brother,
right ahead.
I can't tell you who to date. All I can do is
I can't
outline
even name
like
an Asian billionaire, honestly. I can't. All I can think about is the TikTok CEO who's from Taiwan, and Singapore, and he's a billionaire. But that's all I can think about. I don't know any Asian billionaires.
There's a lot. There's more Asian billionaires
than there are. I'm sure there are. I just don't know. I feel like I don't know. So back to my original point though earlier about like systemic issues, right? So I feel like these factors though are more so an issue of racism and a history of white supremacy, as we all know it, like access to quality education, employment opportunities, and healthcare, and also systemic racism. These can be advocated through like policy changes. Though I think we put all this pressure on
changes.
Yeah.
Brother, you just haven't read. Just say that.
Rather than focusing on personal relationships, though.
You haven't read, brother. You haven't read. What?
Not at all.
I read From Black Lives Matter to Black Liberation. That's a good book. From Black Lives Matter to Black Liberation. Great book. Recommend it.
Go back a little further, brother.
Yeah, you haven't read.
Jason can tell you some of the scholars you need to go read, sweetheart, because that's as he says is cap.
To answer one of the prompts, to answer one of the prompts, I don't think of having a preference.
Wait, hold on, World May, and all right, Baka Bip, we're gonna move on. I also want to give a special shout out to Smart Sister for coming back on the live. She's someone that we could all learn a lot from. She's someone that I learned a lot from. A lot of my content. Everything that we talk about as far as Neely Fuller Jr., Dr. Francis Cress Wilson, a lot of these talking points are at the recommendation of books given to me by Smart Sister. I really cannot express enough how much I appreciate you as I continue to learn on that journey. And there are things I haven't spoken about publicly ever that I still want to extend an apology for, and I feel like in certain in that instance I operated out of my personal IGT, and I hope that you can continue to have some patience with me. And I do want to welcome you back to the platform. And every time I learn something new, sister, I've thought back to our conversations over and time again, and that's why I have so much appreciation for you, sister.
Well, I appreciate you too, and that means a lot to me. For you, it does, because you my nephew, and I love you, and we all grow, and so many times how I said we all where we supposed to be at the time, and then we just grow from there. Me too, included.
Absolutely.
So no problem. We will talk.
Yeah.
But I'm happy.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I appreciate you, Auntie, and I love you. My wife loves you, and I just wanted to say that publicly, even though I've never spoken about anything publicly. I've had nothing but praise for all the numerous things that you've taught me. You're my own personal scholar, and I just wanted to share that.
Don't make me cry. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. My wife's cousin in here. All right. World may never end. Go ahead, talk to us. Give us your age, your race, and your pronouns, please.
All right. So my age, I'm in my 20s. My pronouns is male. My race is black or black American, I guess. Basically, I just wanted to answer like one of the prompts. So basically, having a preference towards a certain race in dating, I don't think that would be considered a fetish in and of itself. Inherently, I don't think inherently be a fetish.
So what is it then?
I think it's just a preference. Like I like this. I like vanilla ice cream, but it's not like I need vanilla ice cream because vanilla ice cream is 6 inches or 8 inches long or has this certain thing about it. It's just I like vanilla ice cream. I
Okay,
prefer it.
so if you like, let's say you said you're black, correct?
Yeah, yeah. And that was an example. I don't really like like
So
white tea
no, but
girls,
let's
but
use a
yeah,
hypothetical like vanilla ice cream.
yeah,
If you like, let's say white women, right?
yeah. I really
Um,
don't, but yeah,
all right, but let's say you do, right?
yeah,
Or some. Let's not even say you. Let's say black person A likes white person B. Not person, but like people that are white.
yeah.
Um, what would you say qualifies that statement? What is whiteness in that instance?
They just like people that fit that phenotypical racial mold of being whitey in America, I guess, or anywhere, I guess. Not even just in America,
Okay,
anywhere.
so phenotypically,
Yeah.
um, meaning what physical trait
Blonde
would
hair, blue
qualify
eyes.
someone?
My bad. Blonde hair, blue eyes, very pale skin, maybe olive skin. Well, what else? What else? I think that's about it. Really, just like the lighter colored skin complexion. Eurocentric features, stuff like that.
All right, so all white people don't have blonde hair, blue eyes.
Well, no, I was just like, I'm
Actually,
trying to
most
group
of
it
them
in.
don't. Honestly, blonde hair. They're saying blonde hair, blue eyed people are going to be gone by like 2045. But
Well, I was just trying to like make I guess paint a picture of what that would look like. But I guess you're right. They have blonde hair, they have brown hair, they have red hair. I guess anything that just has Eurocentric features and has pale skin, I would guess will classify close enough to the white tea.
what is a
But I don't
Eurocentric
really.
feature?
See, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. Eurocentric features, to my knowledge, would just be like fine, narrow features. Possibly
Find
features that
narrow
are
features
like
that are found only in Europe.
no, not only in Europe. But that's the thing
All
though.
right,
So that's all.
so
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
once again, you haven't made a distinction as to what
It's kind
would
of hard to do it because
qualify
yeah, you're
that
right.
as something that is, someone that likes white people. Like, what would
Well, that's
actually?
the thing. Oh, yeah, okay, I can say what classifies as like a Eurocentric
Because
feature, but
if you like pointy noses,
yeah, people say that. That's a good
there
example.
are black
Pointy
people with
noses.
pointy noses. There are Asian people with pointy noses.
Well,
There are people all over, indigenous people with pointy noses. If you like blue eyes, there are black people with blue eyes. I'm sure there's Asian people with blue eyes. I haven't seen any, but
no, no, there is,
I'm
but
sure
like
they
what
exist.
I'm trying to get at, I know where you're heading with this. That's why I said it's a rabbit hole because I've like been into stuff like this for a long time, and I'm fairly young, but like I've liked these topics for a while, so I know what you're getting at. There's people of other races or quote unquote from the racial constructs that we have, like Asian and black, that have these traits, right? So like they do exist in other cultures or other racial groups. Quote unquote, but the thing
So
is,
then,
primarily, I'm talking about like YT people that have these certain pale traits or certain like narrow noses and stuff like that. That's what they would classify as like the YT, in my opinion, stuff like that.
but what I'm saying is, you're making a social construct, a biological or phenotypic reality,
I'm not
and
saying it
that's
has to be,
honest.
but
But
within this
that's not the
conversation,
case. That's not the case, and that's the thing. You're making an oppressive social hierarchy.
well, I'm not
Uh,
really making it. It happened before I existed, right? People had these social constructs they went with before I even existed. So like,
I
I'm
didn't
kind
say
of
you
just running along
created.
with it, but
If you
like,
would just stop and listen to what I'm saying instead of trying to respond so fast, just listen.
okay, sure.
You're making and shout out to I Am Culture for sending gifts to Africa to Bunk. But yeah, you're making a oppressive system of race, flavors of ice cream, and that is where it is harmful. Anything that has to do with race has to do with violence against black and indirectly other people. So that being the case, to say that you prefer a flavor of violence towards black and indirectly other people as well is going to be problematic and thus a fetish, because you are now turning something that was created into something for your amusement, and that's
where it's a fetish. It's not actually a preference anymore. Um,
So what? I mean, I'm kind of like, okay. I guess I want to. I guess ask you this: do you think inherently all preference is fetish? Because I was getting at preference and fetish can be different, but it seems like
no,
you're leading into like can be the
no,
same
no, no.
always. But
A preference is I like women that read books.
yeah, that's what
It
I
has
mean. Stuff
nothing
like
to
that.
do with social hierarchy. It has nothing to do with
Oh, so on
objectifying
racist.
them down
Oh,
to a monolith because a social hierarchy says that people have to be a monolith because in order to qualify someone as white, black, or other anything else, you have to dilute them or be specific about what you're qualifying as part of that category. Words have definitions. That's what Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. says all the time. Words have definitions. So you have to qualify what constitutes someone to be as part of that race. And then to turn that into an object of desire is where it becomes a fetish.
So
A
like,
preference
okay,
is I like women that go skateboarding. I like women that go rollerblading. I like women that wear their natural hair. These are just preferences.
yeah. So like, I guess I'll just say stuff like hobbies can be seen as preferences, right? But you're saying stuff as such as race can only be a fetish. Is that what you're getting at?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I get that. I don't personally agree, but like I don't really like arguments like for the sake of argument, so I'll just agree to disagree if it's only going to go that way. I'll just say that.
All right. I would say you're wrong. It's not a matter of agreement, but okay, let's
No,
go.
that's fine. I'm just saying I don't really want like to argue. I like good discussions and I like thinking, but I don't really like conflict for the sake of conflict. So like I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
It just burns energy.
I don't
We
like
only have so much
conflict.
finite energy on this planet, so like it really doesn't do anything for me. But
You changed your tone real quick from like I really like these kind of debates. I've spent a lot of time, going going into these kind of discussions to
well, I can see where it's heading, kind of like so. I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, I think what Brother Legend was saying was pretty clear. That I think when people say they prefer, say you prefer white people, like what about white people do you prefer? Pale skin isn't exclusive to white people. Most white people don't have like most people. White people have brown hair. Brown hair definitely isn't exclusive to white people. Blue eyes or green eyes. Most white people don't have blue eyes or green eyes, but those aren't exclusive to white people. So like what you're fetishizing is the social construct and the box that they're in. And
Well,
like
I don't
that
like white tea. The thing is, like, you're kind of like quoting it. Like, I actually said I like
no,
white
I'm
tea.
not
I was
saying
using an
you. No, no,
example
no,
for vanilla.
bro. You were
Because the way
clear.
you were saying it, I kind of like saw it. As, oh, you're fine. You're fine. If you're not
Yeah,
doing
bro.
it, that's
No, bro.
cool.
You were clear. You were clear. We're not talking about you as an
Oh,
individual.
okay. I was just about to say, I
Yeah,
was
no,
like, I
no,
really don't
but
like white tea.
no. Just it's a figure of speech, my brother. But I was
Okay.
saying that like yeah, none like when people say they prefer white people, and like you actually ask about white people do you prefer? Well, like when you actually like question and you scrutinize like their thoughts, what they prefer about white people is whiteness. And whiteness and proximity to whiteness is based on systemic violence and like the racial constructs that we live under. Like, because like when you actually ask them, because people will see if it was about like if it was about like you liking pale skin, like you wouldn't just like white people. If it was about you liking blonde hair, you wouldn't just like white people. If it was about you liking aquiline features, you wouldn't just like white people. People who just like white people want proximity to whiteness because that's the only thing white people only have is access to whiteness. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that unites all white people: access to whiteness. And I
Yep.
think that is what people. If that is what you're attracted to, that's a fetish.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was well said, brother. Africa, man, y'all follow brother Africa Debunk down here because he has a way of articulating things, man. I really appreciate him. Sometimes I just can't come up with the words. All right, let's go to the next question. Can you be pro-black with a non-black spouse? World made never end.
I'll answer this, even though I tended to answer one, but I don't think you can really be pro-black with a non-black spouse that well, if you even can be in the first place. I guess I'll just answer it that way. I don't
Okay.
agree you can.
All right. And is your significant other a milk dud?
Oh, mine?
Yeah. Do you swim in the milk?
No.
Okay. That's good. You got a
Well,
sister?
I have before though, but not like now. So
You got a sister?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Don't let it
Well, I'm
hurt your
trying to get
feelings.
one. I ain't gonna lie, I'm trying to with it. But
Oh, all right. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where you end up. All right. Well, y'all, I'm about to take it down. I have work tomorrow. Appreciate y'all for coming up and joining. And don't forget to check out b1initiative.org. The link is in my bio. Feel free to check out things that we're building. Thank you to Africa the Bunk, Smart Sister, for joining the conversation.
Yes, thank
And
you.
yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna be in touch, Smart Sister. I'm gonna reach out to you. Just to talk about some things. See how you're doing. And
Okay, good.
yeah, absolutely. Well, everybody have a good night. Stella, appreciate you too, sister. Auntie Gemini Jess, thank y'all. World man, you black, right?
yeah, I'm very black, dude. I can
All
turn my
right.
camera right now. I'm
All
pretty
right,
black.
nah, it's cool, it's cool, it's cool.
They don't
Everybody
believe
was
me, but
wondering
like,
in the comments. We was like,
I'm from the suburbs too. I don't know if that's sounding coming out like that, but
oh,
like,
okay,
I'm
yeah.
from the
You ain't
suburbs.
code switched to your mother tongue, so we was confused, but it's all right.
All right.
Everybody, we out. Mini V, appreciate you. Talk to y'all next time tomorrow. Peace.